Somehow, UNC gets a tourney bid, and people's heads are exploding. Let's start with Bubba Cunningham, who's the athletic director for North Carolina. His first job as a full-time head athletic director was at my alma mater, Ball State. I knew Bubba very well then. Bubba's someone I respect a tremendous amount. Bubba hired my favorite Ball State coach, Brady Hoke. I participated in that whole process. I know Bubba's a high-integrity guy. He's the head of the NCAA selection committee. He took a lot of grief. Here's his explanation, along with Keith Gill, about how UNC got into the tournament. Play the clip.
So, Bubba, congratulations on being done, first and foremost. I am very familiar with all of the protocols and procedures inside that committee room. You guys go to great lengths to make sure there are no conflicts of interest. You are the athletic director of the University of North Carolina in your day job, so it's going to be a natural question for people who don't know all those procedures to ask whether North Carolina may have gotten a little bit of an advantage that their AD is a chair. So I'm going to invite you to answer that question, and then maybe if Keith could shed some light on that discussion.
Well, thanks, Seth. And obviously, I'm going to defer that to Keith. But, you know, all the policies and procedures were followed, and Keith can address exactly how North Carolina was discussed, because I was not in the room for any of that.
Yeah, thanks, Bubba. And Seth, I appreciate the question. As the vice chair, I managed all the conversations that we had about North Carolina, and we had quite a few. Our policies require the AD of any school to recuse themselves and actually leave the room for those discussions, and they're not allowed to participate in any vote as well. So we followed those, had lots of discussions about North Carolina. You know, Saturday night we took our final vote, and we voted in 4 teams in the field on Saturday night, and we had a contingency vote. And the contingency vote, that was the last team in the field. And it was based on Memphis and UAB. If Memphis won that game, then that was going to free up a spot in the tournament, and that was going to be North Carolina. If UAB had won, then Memphis was going to be in the tournament, UAB would have been in the tournament, and North Carolina would have been the first team out. And so that process played out today. Memphis won, and that put North Carolina in the field.
The final team into the tournament, we know it's North Carolina. There's some breakdown of all these experts that do these tournament projections. I think there's 111 of them, I think, or maybe it's 137. But West Virginia was picked to be in the tournament by 111 of these guys. Indiana, 90. Texas, 50. Xavier, 30. North Carolina, just 27 of the experts had projected them into the tournament, and somehow they get the very last spot. The reaction was instantaneous of people like, hey, this is crazy. What are we doing here? Here's Sean Farham with one of the typical reactions to North Carolina getting into the field. Play the clip.
Played 11 games against other tournament teams. They have won 2 against UCLA and American. All right, Sean, when the field came out and the brackets were set, let's just start with, like, when you first saw it, what was your overall impression? What stood out?
Well, one of it was that has to be a typo. North Carolina can't possibly be in this NCAA tournament field because they had ample opportunities to improve their resume. The fact that West Virginia is not with 6 quad 1 wins and North Carolina is with 1, and if they thought so highly of the ACC, how is an 18-win Louisville team an 8 seed? So if you don't value the ACC with Louisville won 18 games in conference play and had a great non-conference, what you're telling me is North Carolina scheduled its way in because it had the 5th hardest non-conference schedule. The problem is they only won 1 of those games that matter. So, you know, when you talk about 2 wins against the field, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And there are other teams I thought were more rewarded for this. And this is an example of why we don't need to expand the tournament. Because we're looking at this resume and going, yes, this is a tournament, the NCAA tournament team. To me, it's about being elite. This North Carolina team is not elite.
I don't think you could say it any clearer than that, any more accurately than that. And I think we now have to go, well, how did this happen? Why is North Carolina in the tournament? And this connects to what Steve Alford was talking about, and I believe his comments came out on Friday. We're not going to play those just yet. I'm going to give you the answer before I expand the problem out to where Steve Alford did. But this is a television programming decision, period, end of story. Now, if I added a new sentence to that, television programming decision, period. The next thing I would say, in addition to being a sports are in bed with gambling companies decision. Those are the two factors going on with North Carolina and Texas making the NCAA tournament. Texas, I believe, plays on Tuesday night in the first four. These first four games are usually pretty boring. They don't draw a big audience. It's a Tuesday night. Hey, what could give us a little juice? Well, Texas has a big national brand and following, much bigger than West Virginia. We can get into those Dallas markets with Texas. We can open up the state of Texas to watching our Tuesday night NCAA first four basketball games with Texas. That's why Texas is there. North Carolina, quite possibly because of Michael Jordan, the most iconic brand in college basketball. And I know Duke has to be in consideration. UCLA used to be in consideration. But Michael Jordan is the biggest thing in basketball. And that Carolina blue, perhaps other than Duke, draws eyeballs. We're playing on Wednesday night with North Carolina. Maybe they'll add some eyeballs to what we do on Wednesday night. And we dang sure know that North Carolina and Texas will tap into audiences willing to bet on them. This is about television ratings and gambling. This is where we are in college athletics. Let's keep it 1,000% real. This is about TV ratings and gambling. And look, maybe TV ratings always played a major role in the NCAA selection deal and the whole deal. But now it plays an even more pronounced role because men's college basketball, quite frankly, is struggling. Their entire apparatus is built on the NCAA tournament. The regular season is not nearly as consequential as it used to be, doesn't draw television ratings the way it used to. And so they push all their eggs into the NCAA tournament basket, all of them. And they need, on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, before the tournament really kicks off, they need to juice those numbers. And they've done it with North Carolina and Texas. And as it relates to the gambling element and how involved the gambling companies and who's, gambling companies are dang near like Big Pharma in terms of their influence over television.